What's good, everybody? Man, it's your boy, Mr. CDK, Sports Talk Network. You know the saying, we don't play. I'm here, man. Top of the morning to you. It's morning, Monday. A lot of us going back to work, you know what I'm saying, heading back in today. Man, everybody have a safe journey to work. If you're there, if you're coming home, have a safe journey back. And just everybody be all right, man. A lot of things are going on. And like you said, the title says, the crazy world of boxing. In the world of boxing right now is crazy. So many things are going on with Shakur Stevenson and how people are view him, Al Haymon, and what's going on with him and what that means for Javante Tank Davis. So we're gonna get into a lot of that, man. We're gonna discuss a lot of things that need to be discussed this morning. We're gonna talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the sport of boxing. You know what I'm saying? And a fight that a lot of people are not talking about that I want to talk about first. Uh, Give me 1 second, please. 1 second. Let me get this together. One thing I want to talk about for sure this morning, a fight that's under the radar right now. And I don't know how people are looking at this fight and viewing it. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Free. Appreciate that, my brother. Thank you. I don't know how people are viewing this fight. But a fight that I definitely want to speak on is Gerald Big Baby Miller taking on, man, Fabio Wardley. Man, this is a major move in the heavyweight division. And I'm going to tell you why, man. The heavyweight division to me right now is wide open. And, we got Usyk at the top, but everybody else is seeming to fall off. You got Daniel, seems like he's right there. He's on the cups of greatness. But what do we have after that? The heavyweight division hasn't been the same in a long time. And now we're seeing some of these new up-and-coming fighters trying to make their move. And when you look at Fabio Wardley, who's also Dylan White is his manager. And, man, that's something that you need to know. Dylan White is his manager. Fabio, man, he's 30 years old. You know what I'm saying? 30 years old. I thought he was a little younger, but he is 30. So he ain't no spring chicken. So he can't wait around too long, even though he has 18 wins. 17 of those wins coming by way of knockout and one draw. A great record, man. We seen what the young man can do. I ain't gonna call him a young man, but he is still a young man to me. The man, he has power. He has great potential. The sky's the limit for him. But Big Baby, and I used to be, real tough on Big Baby, man. Because Big Baby is a known cheater. I'm just going to put it out there. We know what Big Baby likes to do. Big Baby don't mind, man, injecting them steroids. Big Baby don't mind taking a little something to enhance his performance. And I've always felt some type of way about Gerald Big Baby Miller when it came to that. But it seems like he's trying to redeem himself. He's had a few fights and no hiccups, no blemishes. Gerald Big Baby Miller blew one of the biggest chances, man, that I can recall when he got a shot at Anthony Joshua. And at that time, man, if you know anything, Anthony Joshua was really, he was on top of the world. Anthony Joshua was right there. Anthony Joshua, was probably, if he wasn't the face of boxing, he was right there with Canelo Alvarez. And Gerald Big Baby Miller had that opportunity, man. And he blew that opportunity by cheating. And I hate that. But now, we seen him come back. His fight against Andy Ruiz, which was his last fight, I call it like I said. I felt like he won that fight. I think Andy Ruiz looked terrible. And I felt like, man, he got a gift. It was a draw. Andy Ruiz got a gift in that fight. Then the fight against Daniel, the fight before that, Gerald Big Baby Miller lost that fight. And, man, listen, Miller said, and I quote, he only had like 2 weeks notice. He didn't have time. He said for so long now he hasn't been getting the right opportunities. He's saying that, a lot of times people are basically, catching him, giving him 1 week, 2 week notices. He hasn't had a full training camp. He don't get a chance to really go out there and show what he can do. We see Miller come in the ring, like I said, he's 6'4". I think Miller man, you don't know what he's coming in the ring at, man. Sometimes he's 315, sometimes he's 350, man. He's the round mound of boxing. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely the round mound of boxing. But Miller said, this time right here, he got a full camp. And Wardley said, Fabio said this right here, man. He said, I don't want no excuses. I want Miller to be able to have a full camp. I want Miller to be able to come out there and put on his best performance. I want to get his best effort. So when I beat him, nobody can't do nothing but give me credit for it. Well, you know how Miller talk, man. If y'all ain't watched none of those, pre-fight or whatever you want to call it, the interviews leading up to the fight, check it out, man. Listen, Miller is one of the most entertaining people in boxing, man. When I tell you he can talk and he's very, very, I ain't gonna lie, disrespectful. He told Frank Warren and Fabio, suck him. Y'all already know what he was talking about. He talks like that. I kind of wish he would cut that out, man, and just keep, it's like to have fun when you're talking. But I just hate to hear Miller talk like that, man. Sometimes, as a black man, him being a black man is kind of embarrassing to me. You know what I'm saying? But that's how he likes to talk. He likes to get up on his opponent's skin, and we're going to see what happens. Now, back in the days, Miller, I can recall, him and Deontay Wilder were going back and forth a lot. And Deontay Wilder said he sent Miller to the hospital. Now, Miller said he did go to the hospital, but he tried to say it because he was dehydrated or something like that. Wilder said, no, it wasn't because of that. Wilder said, I knocked him out, you know what I'm saying, in spawn. I don't know what the truth is, you know what I'm saying, but, either way, you know what I'm saying, Miller has had a lot of opportunities, man, and he blew some. So this right here is a second chance at a career, really a third chance, because I believe Miller also was suspended. I think he was kickboxing. I think Gerald Miller also got suspended from kickboxing, which doesn't surprise me, you know what I'm saying? But hey, that's how it goes. You understand what I'm saying? Things happen. You know what I'm saying? Miller's paid for it. And now we're moving on with that. We're moving on with what Miller has to do. Now, man, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The one, the only Mr. Al Haymon, and all the stuff that has been said. A lot of y'all guys, man, a lot of people, a lot of these YouTube channels, boxing channels, people in the streets of the boxing world, you know what I'm saying? When you pick a side, you pick a side, and you don't leave no wiggle room. And you didn't leave no wiggle room. And I've been saying for the longest time now, Al Haymon, I've been saying it since day one, Al Haymon and Turki Al-Sheikh were going to soon work together. I said, man, there ain't no way around it. Turki Al-Sheikh is making too many moves in the world of boxing, and here we go. And when it comes down to it, man, listen, Al Haymon is one of the most smartest men, not only in boxing, but period. But and that's why he's making this move. Let's be real. It's a smart move. It's a business move. Al Haymon has started to have to foot that bill. We know Amazon Prime doesn't want to foot the bill. They're going to put the fights on. They're going to make their money. But it's a deal that I really don't like. But I think it was a desperate move. People don't want to hear this. I think it was a desperate move for Al Haymon and PBC to actually sign with Amazon Prime. Why sign with someone, just be honest, you know what I'm saying? And they had to do what they had to do. But why would you sign with someone that's not willing to, pay for the arena, the stadiums, or the fighters, you know what I'm saying? They're not doing anything like that. And maybe they're smart on Amazon Prime part because maybe that's what hurts Showtime, HBO, and all these other streaming people that have had boxing on. Even with the Zone, we seen when they was taking those big losses through Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing. So, Amazon Prime decided to tell Al, look, we'll put the fights on. You can bring your fights over here, but everything else you have to deal with. Then when you footing those type of bills, man, that's a lot of money paying out your pocket. Especially when you got fighters like Gervonta Tank Davis over there, and others, man, that demand a big purse. You know what I'm saying? You got to be willing to pay these guys, and you got to be willing to pay them well. So, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I think now what Al is looking at, hey, man, Turki is taking care of Matchroom. Seems like he's taking care of Golden Boy. He's taking care of Top Rank, you know what I'm saying? He don't mind footing the bill if he wants to see the fight. Let me go over here. But this is the thing. Gervonta Tank Davis has had a whole lot to say about Turki. And his fans and his YouTube channels, they've really been going against Turki. Now what do they got to say? I want to see how they're going to be able to put this in reverse. I want to see how they're going to put the brakes on this, how they turn the car around, and what do they got to say. I think this is going to be very difficult for a lot of those people, man, to be able to say anything, you know what I'm saying, about, Turki now. What can you say? But at the end of the day, where does Gervonta Tank Davis go from here? Because now, this is what I say, man. A lot of times when you're talking crazy and you're putting your foot in your mouth, man, now how do you pull it out? Gervonta Tank Davis, if Turki Al-Sheikh is going to do a deal with Al Haymon, off the top, your number one fighter is going to have to, fight on my card. He's going to have to come for me to do a deal with you. I'm not doing a deal unless Gervonta Tank Davis is included in that deal. What y'all think about that? Ain't no way around it. So now, we know with Turki, man, Turki going to make you fight the best of the best. He wants to see the best fight. And there's another thing I'm going to get into. I feel like Turki's doing what he's doing for a certain reason, you know what I'm saying, as far as with the Shakur Stevenson fight. But we're going to get to that. But Gervonta Tank Davis now is not going to have any choice in the matter but to do what? Either play or sit on the sideline. And I don't think the Tank is ready to sit on the sideline just yet. I think Javante Tank Davis, man, he talks about retirement. He uses it sometimes as a skirt tactic, as a bargaining chip. But I don't know if he really wants to go. I kind of feel like at times he might do because he's tired of the sport. He's been around the sport all his life. But Tank still has a lot to do. And like I've always said, I don't think just yet you throw him in the Hall of Fame. And with Tank and Turki, you know what I'm saying? I think they're going to have to put their differences to the side now. Tank definitely doesn't have a choice but to put his differences to the side if he's going to continue to, be with Al Haymon. Because Al Haymon is the one that runs the show. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely ready to see what's next. Who does Turki try to get Tank in the ring with? Like I said, Turki about big business, and he wants, you know what I'm saying? Is he good for the sport of boxing? Well, the jury's still out. He has been making big fights and doing things, you know what I'm saying, that seem like, hey, man, it's great for the sport. But at the same time, he's also making other moves to make people wonder. Because I've heard, you know what I'm saying, we've heard what Shakur Stevenson had to say. And a lot of people are really, you know what I'm saying, mad at Shakur Stevenson, saying that the dude is messing up his career. He's doing that. He's doing this. Well, Turki didn't deny this. So I'm going to say this right here. There had to be some truth to it. Also, we heard Oscar De La Hoya say what he had to say. You know, he went in on Shakur Stevenson and Eddie Hearn. You know what I'm saying? Do I think he'll duck? Cuz no, I don't think Shakur Stevenson is ducking Williams or Pater. I think what's going on, and this is where a lot of people miss it, cuz, you know what I'm saying? They don't pay attention to this. Tevin Farmer and Shakur Stevenson, they kind of have similar styles. The only difference is Shakur Stevenson is Tevin Farmer 2.0 with better skills, younger, you know what I'm saying, bigger version of all of that you see from Tevin Farmer. Williams and Pater looked bad against Tevin Farmer both times. What Turki do? Turki knows that Shakur wants that fight. Turki threw a low ball off out there. He threw a low ball number. Shakur Stevenson turned it down, as he has a right to do. Now, people don't like it, you know what I'm saying, because that he turned it down. But I hate, you know what I'm saying, that I feel like a young man is not able to say, man, I don't want that money. It's not enough. I think everybody should be able to have that right to say, no, I'm not fighting for peanuts. And Shakur put it on, he came out and said something about the contract was a low ball contract, and Turki didn't deny it. Turki said something, but when Turki, is right about something, he gonna come out and say it. And like I said, he didn't have nothing bad to say about what Shakur Stevenson had to say. Now, I don't think Turki really wants that fight. Turki gonna make a fight. If he wants a fight, he gonna make it. I don't think, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Zapata was trash, cuz he was trash, and Turki know that. All you gonna be doing is getting Shakur Stevenson free money. But the thing is, now what can happen is this. Shakur or Zapata are not signed to Turki Al-Sheikh. The fight can still be made. I mean, it seems like now these channels, they don't want anyone to, these promotional companies, they can't move without Turki. If Turki don't make the fight, it's like they forgot how to do the business of boxing, which to me is crazy. Why can't you just go over here? You know what I'm saying? We got Williams Zapata, and he's with, I think, Golden Boy. And then you got Shakur, and he's with Matchroom. Matchroom and Golden Boy know how to come together and make a fight. They were making fights long before Turki came along. And when Turki leaves, they'll still be making fights, hopefully. You know what I'm saying? But Shakur did not duck Zapata. He's been wanting to fight. People don't, I'm going to tell you something, because a lot of people, they hate the young man so much. And sometimes he does do a lot of stuff that's done that a lot of times when he does anything, there's no room for mistake with him. People jump right on it. They got a lot of bad stuff to say about him. Shakur would beat Zapata real easy. I think it's one of them fights you see where it's 10-2, you know what I'm saying, 11-1, one of those type of fights. Zapata, man, we seen, like I said, against Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer's style is kind of like, you know what I'm saying? 1 second, y'all, 1 second. I apologize for that, man. I thought I had my phone cut off. But yeah, Zapata, man, you know what I'm saying? He don't really want to fight with Shakur Stevenson. He don't want that fight. You know what I'm saying? I do want to see it. I think Shakur going to have to come off his high horse, put his pride to the side. If you want people to stop saying that you're ducking and you're doing this and doing that and ruining your career, sometimes you're gonna have to take a low ball off him, you know what I'm saying, and go ahead and run with it just to prove a point. Go ahead and take the money, if beats the pater, and move on with your career. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a whole lot lined up Shakur could be doing. You know, you got the 135-pound division. ESPN rankings got Tank number 1. They got Lomachenko number 2. They got Shakur number 3. Keyshawn Davis number 4. They got Williams Zapata at number 5. They got Lamont Roach at number 6. Andy Cruz at number 7. Frank Martin at number 8. They got Raymond Martola at number 9. And I have a problem saying dude's name, but Zohir, something like that, at number 10. So the top 10 rankers, man, there's a lot of fights in there for Shakur Stevenson. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't believe it's legacy. I definitely don't think it's legacy. I think, man, I don't think it's legacy for any of these young fighters anymore. Cause you know what I'm saying, man. If it was, I'm gonna tell you right now, the only, and I hate to say this, and people don't like it, but the ones that really know, they know. The only person that's fighting for legacy right now is Devin Haney. Devin Haney, man, is the blueprint for how a fighter should be moving in his career. Whether he wins or loses, Devin Haney has tried to make a fight with everyone that he could fight. You know what I'm saying? That can't be denied. And it's, whether you think he's not that talented or you think he can't punch, Devin Haney is the last of those type of people trying to do big fights and trying to, you know what I'm saying, hey man, I fought him out. And I don't understand what's going on, but I gotta say, I gotta give Bill Haney credit for that, man. In that aspect, he got his son, man, in the right place. He got his son doing things, you know what I'm saying, that he should be doing, and people are not gonna like it. But man, think about it. He tried to fight Teofimo. Teofimo duck and dodge. It made all kind of moves, you know what I'm saying? He sent Shakur Stevenson a contract, not once, but twice. Shakur Stevenson turned him down, you know what I'm saying? Once again, on that low ball stuff and some other stuff. And, you know, Shakur Stevenson knows that you can only make a certain amount of money when you're fighting a champion. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're not a big name. He wasn't Tank. It'd be different if it had been Tank and they sent him a contract. Then Tank can demand a certain amount of money. But Shakur didn't have that right when it came to that. Devin Haney tried to fight Tank, you know what I'm saying, for whatever reason. It didn't happen, you know what I'm saying? But Devin Haney tried to fight everybody. And just coming back the way he came back and being able now to go out there and fight, man, Jose Ramirez, that's a big fight, man. It's a big fight. That dude, man, can fight too. And, you know, it's not going to be a one of those cakewalks for Devin Haney. He's going to have, well, I ain't going to lie. A lot of people like me and others, we think he can beat Ryan Garcia. I definitely believe he can beat Ryan Garcia. I went back and looked at the fight because an old head and a trainer told me to go back and look at it. And Devin Haney won every round that he didn't get knocked down in. If you go back and look at that fight, Devin Haney won every round. Devin Haney was in that fight. It was a split decision, because, you know what I'm saying, it was really, truly, it was a split decision, what they called it. The fight was a lot closer than people say. The knockdowns hurt Devin. Now, does Devin go out there and box and fight his style? Does he win? I think if he fights his style, the way he normally fights and don't try to beat Tank, he outboxes Ryan. He's definitely the better boxer. But Devin Haney wanted to go out there and do something special. He wanted to go out there and prove a point. I think he underestimated Ryan, and I think it won't happen again. I think if they fight again, you see a different fight. I think Devin Haney and Tank is a great fight. I can't say, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna say that Devin can't beat Tank now. Devin Haney tough. I think this fight right here gonna prove a lot to people about how tough he is. And Devin Haney, the thing with Devin Haney is this: Tank's not gonna fight Devin Haney. He's already said he's not gonna fight Devin because, for one, Devin is just way too big. You know what I'm saying? He's saying that Devin Haney is like the weight class. And with Devin Haney, Devin Haney's gonna be at 147, I think, coming up real soon. Him and Tank definitely not gonna fight. Tank's not going anywhere near 147, I don't believe. I don't believe Tank wants to, and Tank has no need to go to 147. When you look at Tank, man, Tank is a small guy, even at the lightweight where he's at right now. Tank weighs in, you know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, he got a chin, cuz, you know what I'm saying? But Tank weighs in at 133 pounds, cuz. Tank ain't got no business, man. People can't make me come say, well, Tank needs to move up for competition. You coming in at 133 pounds, you're 30 years old. That means you're definitely at your right weight. You know what I'm saying? Tank where he's supposed to be at. You know what I'm saying? And maybe 140 before the end of his career is not too far-fetched. But I do not see him doing anything else other than that. You know what I'm saying? But it's definitely, You know what I'm saying? Something to see. I think I want to see Devin Haney and Richardson Hitchens. I would love to see that fight. I favor Devin Haney against him. I want to see Devin Haney and my guy, Gary Antoine Russell. I favored Antoine in that fight. I think Antoine's style, man, is a bad matchup for Devin Haney. Man, I think it's a bad matchup for anybody. But I think I would love to see that fight. Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez. I favor Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? I favor Devin Haney in a lot of fights. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a few fighters at 140 that's will give him real trouble. If he goes to 147, like I think he will, I don't want to see him in Boots. I think Boots is just a bad matchup for him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's possible Gary could stop him, and I definitely got to agree with you on that. Gary Antoine Russell special. But like I said, Devin Haney, man, he's special too. And you never know. I just salute BBO. When you got those type of fights, man, you don't want to, I don't want to ever say anybody's going to stop Devin because he's special. And I realized, I don't think for a long time we wasn't giving Devin Haney the credit we should have been giving him. We've been watching this young man and we've been talking so bad and jumping on all the bandwagons, and Devin Haney been trying to give us fight after fight after fight and just moving the way that a young man should move. You understand what I'm saying? And I hate that, man. The people have treated him, you know what I'm saying, not according to how he be treated. He's the last of a throwback fighter. We don't have a lot of throwback fighters anymore. You know what I'm saying? He's not a clown. He do what he want to do. Two people are too much invested in what goes on outside the ring and the way he dresses and all that. I don't care about none of that stuff, man. This new young generation, for me, they do what they want to do. You understand what I'm saying? I just like to see him get in there. And Devin Haney, they say he's running the gauntlet right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got him too. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, BBO. BBO said Devin is the greatest Negro in boxing. I like the way he's moving, man. And if he ain't the greatest BBO, he's trying to be. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to be something real special. And he should be applauded for that. Because for so long now, we looking at Tank, man. People don't want to hear it. And every time somebody says something about Tank, people take it as hating. And this is not, Bill got the hate on Devin. Yeah, I believe that too, because people want to look at, nobody wants to say this. And when you say it, everybody takes this as hate. Oh, man, you hating on Tank. You can't say nothing about Tank without people thinking you're hating. This is not hate. Tank is not, BBO said it the other day, Tank has not fought any of his contemporaries. Think about that. None of them. How can you get to be 30, 31 years old and you haven't faced anyone that people feel like has came up through the gauntlet with you? Somewhere, somehow, people got to start paying attention to that. This is not hate on my part. I think Tank is special and I think he's great. But we still want to see it. Prove it. You got to know what Lamont Roach, you know what I'm saying? You said, you know what I'm saying? When he said BBO not won, you got to know what Lamont Roach. It was a close fight, you know what I'm saying? People can say you won. They can say Lamont won half. It doesn't matter now. It was a draw. That's what they call it. But this is the question at hand. If you get past Lamont Roach in your next fight, what do you do? Where do you go? I don't want to hear you calling that monster in your way. I don't want to see no more 130-pound fighters coming up. I don't want to see no more of that. I don't want to see it anymore. I want to see you in there with someone worth being in there with. That's all I want to see. Somebody that we can look across and say, hey, man, this is what we've been waiting on. We've been waiting on Tank to make that move right there. You know, Lamont don't want that Cool Boy work. I don't know. I think Cool Boy might be a little too small for Lamont, to be honest with you, BBO. Not taking nothing from Cool Boy. I rock with Cool Boy. I think Cool Boy's excellent talent. I just think I'm looking at the size matchup in the ring and stuff. I think Lamont really is bigger than what people think. Lamont was actually bigger than Tank in there, man. He was bigger than Tank, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if Cool Boy and Lamont would ever fight, but I definitely, you know what I'm saying, that would be interesting. He going to 130, well, yeah, he might, you know, what if Lamont stays at 135? You know what I'm saying? Lamont finna have his second fight at 135. You know how it is, BBO. You know boxing good. You know it's gonna be hard to go back down. Yeah, Lamont Roach is a big 130 because he is. He's a big 130. And right now he at 135. And BBO know it's hard to go back down in boxing. It's hard to get that weight down, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. And if he beats Tank, would you want to go back down? You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Would you want to go back down? I don't know if I would want to keep going up and down. We've seen what happened in careers with people like Roy Jones and others, man. Especially as you get up a little bit in age and you're trying to make those jumps in between weight classes. I think, man, it's just like what Bud Crawford saying, which I don't care what Bud says. Bud knows, like we know, this is a retirement match, and this is the last call for alcohol. Crush the legend. Bud Crawford knows this is the last call for alcohol. You know when you be in a bar and they tell you last call, but this is what this is for Bud. It ain't nothing wrong with it, but I don't see Bud going up to 168 and jumping back down. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Brian. Thank you, man. Man, the link is in the thing, man. My STN brothers. Y'all know the doors of the spot is open. You know what I'm saying? The link is in the description for my brothers, STN Sports Talk Network. You know what I'm saying? I got my brothers in the building, Crush the Legend, Pride. I even got my cousin in the building, and I told him he needs to become a part of this STN movement, man. I've been telling him, man, Mr. Ben Sanders. You know what I'm saying? Jump on board with us, man, bro. For real, cuz. You know what I'm saying? You said BBO said Tank is not all that. Tank is a hype job. You might be right. Then drop the belt. Well, I'm gonna say this. Uh, I want to see Tank next, maybe with I don't know, maybe even a Roman. Well, no, I don't want to go that far down. Williams a payday in Tank. Lomachenko definitely need to drop the belt. If he's not gonna fight anymore, that belt needs to be vacant, and somebody needs to be facing somebody for that title. I don't think Lomachenko wants to come back, but right now what he's doing is holding the belt hostage. We seen other fighters. Let me show you some. Jamel Charlo, they ain't allowed him to hold the belt hostage. I think Jamel Charlo got done more dirty than anybody I've ever seen. They took his belt so fast, man, caused me to have whiplash. I never seen nobody get stripped of their titles that fast, the way Jamel Charlo was. So why are certain fighters able to hold their belts for a long period of time when people feel like they're not coming back? So I want to know what's going on with Lomachenko next. I want to see his next move. I want to see how that plays out. You know, I think Lomachenko is ready to retire. He said his back is bad, you know what I'm saying? And if he got a bad back, man, you know what I'm saying, let it go. Stop playing games, Lomachenko. You made plenty of money. And y'all think about this, man. Bob Arum, out of everybody that's ever been in the ring, guess who Bob Arum has paid? Lomachenko. He's paid Lomachenko good money to get in there. And I never thought Lomachenko was like a household name. I mean, for the hardcore fans like us, we love Lomachenko, you know what I'm saying, as far as what he put on in the ring, the performances he gave us. But was he ever a household name? Did he ever make moves like Tank? What's up, BBO? What's good, my brother?
Hey, what's going on, man? CDK, what's going on, my brother?
Man, I'm just chilling, man, trying to cook a little bit, man. Tell me something good.
Hey, man, shout out to my man Dub Right Side. You know, Dub Right Side want to do a Sunday night show. I think it went great. We
It
did
did.
almost 200 views across, both channels. So salute to my man Dub on a great idea, man.
Yes, sir, it was. And my brother Crush the Legend, man, OG, he said the ultimate bandwagon hopper at it again.
But you know
Crush,
what, man? Shout out to shout out to boxing because you know what? We gonna get some good fights, and and shout out to Crush. I know he's a Tank sexual, and they want to take up a Tank. I get it. I get it. I like Tank too. I just want him to fight somebody with a post, and hopefully Lamont Peterson will finally put an end to this Tank chapter, bro. Because
Lamont
I'm
Roach,
ready for him to get out the game.
you said Peterson,
Huh?
Lamont Roach. You said Peterson, Lamont Peterson. You hear me?
I'm thinking about Lamont Roach. I'm just hoping
I know
Lamont
you
Roach
talk. I
man
know
can
you talking
end this
about.
Tank
Everybody
chapter.
know you talking about. And yeah, definitely. I think it's gonna be
Yeah,
another
because
great fight, man.
hey, I think Lamont Sanford can fight, and I want to see him go in there and take Little Red out, man. I think it'd be good for boxing, man. Because we know Little Red don't want no Shakur Sanchez smoke. He definitely don't want no businessman Davis smoke. So go ahead, get out the way. You had a good run. And what happened? Hold on. CDK, I gotta ask you. I thought Tank signed a big deal for 200 million. What happened? What happened to the $200 million deal? What
Man,
happened?
I don't know. I don't know, but I got my brother in the building, man, Crush the Legend. I know Crush got plenty to say, so I'm gonna let him turn him loose. Go ahead, Crush.
Shout out to all you. Shout out to all you.
Nah, nah. I
I
only
thought
came up
y'all
here.
had
I
200
only
million.
came up here to say one thing, man. I
Go ahead,
came up
I
Crush.
here to
thought
say
y'all had
one
200
thing as a
million,
man.
CDK.
Hey, BBO, don't you ever in your effing life again say anything out your mouth connected my name to a damn sexual. You understand me? And I'm gonna
Okay.
tell you one more time, I ain't a fanboy of no damn fighter on here. You hear me? None of these niggas. I got my own nuts, homie. You say that
Sound,
sexual
hey,
stuff for the other
sounds
dudes.
good.
When you talking to
Sounds good.
your bro, no,
You
your
my brother.
no, it ain't don't sound good. But don't call me none of that shit then. Cause I
Hey, you
ain't
my
none of
brother,
that
man.
shit.
We
That's
not we
for
not
some
gonna
other
be sensitive, man.
motherfuckers.
We having some fun
Crush,
on here,
crush,
man.
Hey,
crush, crush, crush.
no, no,
They got.
no
Hold on 1 second.
sexual
I'm sorry.
shit. You
I'm
can leave
sorry,
that
crush.
sexual shit out of it, bro. That shit
Crush.
sounds
I'm sorry.
suspect,
I
my
Hey,
man.
understand,
when
crush.
people
Don't ever
said
Hey,
put my
about
hold on,
name
hold
with
Earl,
on,
when they
hold on,
sexual
called us,
shit,
everybody.
bro.
Everybody,
go
one
ahead.
second. 1 second, y'all. 1 second. Crush, no disrespect if y'all can watch the cuss and they got me shadow banned already. I'm trying to come out the hole. I'm trying to come out the hole, Crush. Go
I
ham though,
cuss.
Crush. Go ham.
I didn't
Go
cuss.
ham. Huh?
Oh damn.
That was okay.
Hey
No,
man,
I'm just
don't
saying.
put
I
my
ain't cuss.
name
You
with
know,
no
you know I don't
sexual
cuss,
stuff,
man.
dog. That's all
I
I'm
said
saying.
Crush.
Don't put my name with no sexual
Hey,
stuff.
hey, bro. Hey, bro. This is boxing talk, man. If you
That,
can't handle the heat, I get it. We just having some fun, man.
yeah,
But shout out to the
he
Puerto
can't
Rican.
hear,
I
man.
got to get a Puerto Rican his credit.
He
He
can't
was right
hear,
about
man.
Richard Torres. That
Ain't no
guy's a
boxing
bum.
talk. Don't put my name with.
Richard
Hey,
Torres is
bro,
a bum,
don't
man.
ever put my name. We can have fun, but don't ever call me
Hey,
a
I'm not gonna
sexual,
do this on
bro.
CDK
Hold
show. If
on,
you got an
BBO.
issue
BBO,
with
Don't
it,
let
ever
we
call
outside
me
the
a
Crush talk.
show,
sexual
bro.
on here,
Please,
man.
you cutting Crush off. Let him talk. Go ahead, Crush. Crush,
I hear all the.
go.
Go ahead.
I guess Crush said what he had to say. My brother Crush in the
But you
building.
you was just hot. You just calling for this dude every time a fighter gets beat up, bro. Why you don't never stick with a fighter? Because every time a fighter get beat up, then you abandon them like that damn Busta Rhymes song, abandon shit. Just a couple of weeks ago, you was up here talking about Richard Torres. He get his butt beat. You abandoned. You on a new
Richard
bandwagon
Torres
every
won. I
week, bro.
said.
I'm
I
gonna get
said
your
Free was
butt
right.
Hold on,
He's
passed
not
BBO.
that
because
good.
Hold on,
you
BBO.
switching bus routes every time, bro. I just wanted to let you know that as a man, you are the bus route fan.
And guess what? And I'm gonna run it up like every other content creator. So shout out to you. And like I said, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Ain't no big deal. It's boxing. It ain't like football where I can control the outcome. All I can do is watch. I thought Richard was good. Hey, Richard was trash can water. The Puerto Rican from DC called it. I got to give him his props. He was
What's good,
horrible at
Free?
the fight.
I try to tell you, man, he's a front runner. All somebody needs is to have a good jab and boxing ability, and he's done. All he does is throw big shots and come in with no effective aggression. His aggression is not effective at all. He just throw big shots and try to overwhelm you. If you look at the last couple of rounds of that fight,
Mm-hmm.
when the dude was throwing a jab, he was landing it at will. I'm like, this is what you were supposed to be doing from round one. That's what I expected him to do in round one because that's what he did to the big Russian dude that he fought. He just kept throwing a 1-2. I'm like, that's all you had to do, and he just throwing big shots. He ain't got no game plan whatsoever. It ain't no jab, hit him to the body, throw a hook here. It's just throw big shots and see if you can overwhelm him. He has no game plan at all. He's easy to beat. That's somebody that I would love to fight on the streets. If I had to get into a fight, I'm like, he want to fight me? Bet. I ain't even got to think twice about it. I ain't even got to take my shirt off. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna step to the side and catch him. As soon as he come rushing in, I'm just gonna step to the side, let him go past, and he gonna look for me, and I'm gonna catch him right in his face, and it's over.
Yeah, I agree with you. Richard
He just put
Torres
his
he
head,
look,
put his
he look
head in that
horrible.
guy's chest and was throwing.
Yeah, he did look horrible, man. I don't like what I seen from him. He can't beat none of the top heavyweights, man. It's definitely lights out for him if he fights anybody. I ain't gonna lie. I think what's his name will beat him, Jared. I think Jared Anderson will beat him. I'll go as far as saying
Oh,
that.
Jared will mop the floor with him. Jared have an
Mm-hmm.
easy
Yeah.
time with him.
But get
Yeah,
beat, he might
yeah,
unalive him, dog.
yeah. He'll
You,
have
you,
an
you know
easy
what? You know
time
what
with
I
him.
realized though, Free? Did you see how
What's that?
little Richard is? Richard only got like a 76 inch arm reach. He like maybe 6'2". He just fat. He
Yeah,
need to come down to 175, man. He just fat, bro. He's not no
Yeah.
yeah.
heavyweight.
He's smaller than Usyk. Usyk is an inch taller than him with 3 inches more arm reach. He's smaller than
Mm-hmm.
Usyk.
Yeah, he
So
is.
no, I don't see him beating none of the top guys unless he lands a shot on a button and the guy just can't take it. Other than that, I don't see him beating none of the top guys. I think Daniel Dubois gets him out there within 2 rounds. I
Mm-hmm.
think I think even Big Joe Joyce probably get him out of there within 5 rounds. Um, Big Bang Zane gets him out of there within 3 rounds. I don't see him beating nobody though. I don't see him beating none of those guys. None of them.
Yeah.
From the B
Hey, let me ask
level
y'all this,
on up,
BBO.
nah.
BBO and Free. What
Yeah.
y'all think about the Big Baby Miller and Fabio Wardley fight?
I think that's a good fight. I think it's a good
Yeah.
fight. Fabio is a decent fighter. He's not no world beater right now. He's still getting his experience under his belt, but I think he's going to be good in the future. But right now, that's a good fight. Big Baby Miller showed that he still had something left when he got in there with Andy Ruiz. So I think it's going to be a good fight. Somebody probably going to get dropped. I don't know if anybody gets knocked out, but I think somebody going to get dropped. Um, then it's gonna be a action packed fight because both of them gonna come in there throwing big shots, and both of them gonna come to fight.
Yep. What do you think, BBO?
I just gotta say, man, and you know, I got love for Brooklyn. That's where my father's from. But man, Big Baby Miller is garbage. I mean, his best fight is against Lucas Brown, former heavyweight champion, who won the belt by accident because the dude did because they cheated him. They cheated the other guys. So I mean, he's been an absolute disgrace and just been really an all-out unadulterated bum in boxing. I mean, he get his head kicked by everybody. And then he takes how you take steroids and still be getting beat up. I don't know, bro. If I was on steroids, I'd be beating cats up. He looked horrible versus Andy Ruiz. I
No, he
mean,
didn't.
No, no.
he looked horrible. What up? Come on, Andy Ruiz ain't the
No,
same.
no, you
Andy
gotta
Ruiz
go
ain't the
back
same.
and
She got that money.
you gotta go back and watch that fight. Andy
Yeah,
Ruiz looked horrible.
yeah.
Big
That's
Baby
what I'm
Miller
saying.
didn't
Andy
look.
Ruiz was horrible.
No, Big
So
Baby Miller didn't look horrible. Andy Ruiz looked horrible. There's a difference. Big Baby Miller didn't look horrible. He actually won that fight. They
Yeah,
gave Andy Ruiz a draw. He won that fight. He beat
yeah.
Andy Ruiz up the entire fight.
He did. And Free. Also in the fight against Daniel Dubois, the fight before that, man, Big Baby was looking good in that fight for a while. There was a nice little he had a nice run in that fight.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
to be
he's
fair, I'm
he's a
sorry, to
C
be fair,
level.
BBO, his record 20, he got 26 wins and 1 loss, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean the dude. He's only been beat by one guy, and you gotta understand he he's not what we thought he was going to be, but he's not bad as BBO making him out to be either. He ain't as bad as what you making him out to be. I bet you he beat daggone Richard Torres. I bet you
Oh
that
yeah.
much.
that ain't saying nothing. But you know what?
No,
No, there's no absolute science, and I could be extra harsh on him because I thought Miller was gonna be a good fighter. You know, he talked a good game. I thought we was gonna have another Big Daddy Bow, and nope, we don't got another Big Daddy Bow. So
Yeah.
he's probably a
I
he's
know what you're
probably. I
saying.
mean, he's a B level fighter. He's
he
not.
just talked about a game. That's all. Free. He got me hyped up, and he wasn't as good as he
I
said.
mean,
That's
if you beat everybody you've been in the ring with and only lost one fight, you gonna talk a big game too. I mean,
Yeah,
he only lost to one person,
yeah.
so
And he
he
got
he, he
22
got the
knockouts.
right. He got the right to talk. I mean that's just like Shakur Stevenson. He talk a lot of mess, and people say, oh, he they put up the least amount of punches in a 12 round fight. Well, he still hasn't lost, so he still has the right to talk. Nobody beat him. So
Right.
even though he a boring fighter, nobody beat him. It's the same thing with Big Baby Miller. You might say he's not as good as the top level fighters. There's a lot of fighters not good as the top level fighters. But the one thing he can say, there's only one person that beat me. Everybody else, I'm putting them down or I'm beating them. So
Yeah.
he got the right to talk.
He definitely do, man. And Fabio Wardley, I didn't know Free that he was 30 years old. I didn't know that he was
Yeah.
that up in age. So he must have started late in his career or something.
Well, I think he stayed in the amateurs a while, and he started his pro career kind of late, and then he's fighting few in between fights. So he might fight like once, maybe twice a year. So he's
Okay.
not having a lot of fights. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't really know who he is, because he's not. You would think when he got in there he would be fighting 4 or 5 times a year, but he's not fighting like that. He's only fighting like once or twice a year.
Okay. You remember a time, I think Mike Tyson one time fought almost 4 times in 1 month. You know what I'm saying? Back in the days. I don't know what happened to that type of activity when you taking on, as Crosby called them, cab drivers from the beginning, man. Like when you getting them cab drivers in, you got to line them lemons up, man, and just pill them. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Line them
because
up
of
and
the.
pill them.
That's because for one, um, it's the money that these fighters are getting for these fights now. They
Yeah.
like, man, I ain't got to get back in there. I got paid a nice chunk of change. I ain't got to get right back in there. Like when
Mhm.
Mike Tyson was coming up before he became champion, he wasn't making no money like that. So
Yeah.
he was fighting 4 or 5 times just to walk away with a couple of 100,000 a year. So
Yeah.
he was getting a lot of fights in, so he could walk away with a couple of 100,000 a year. Now these guys getting one fight and getting $100,000, $200,000 a year, and they ain't really fighting nobody. I mean, you got the prospects; they not making that type of money. But like Abdullah Mason, you see, he fight 5 times a year.
Right.
But you got guys like Keyshawn who's fighting once, maybe twice a year, and you like, no, you only got 12 fights. Why are you fighting only once or twice a year? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it is. These guys getting paid a lot more than the guys was getting paid back in the days. Like
Yeah.
a
You.
guy like Keyshawn, he'll be still making somewhere around $5,000 to $20,000 a fight right now if he was fighting
Hmm.
back in the '80s and the '90s.
Yeah, you're right. You exactly right about that. I ain't just look at it like that, but it makes good sense when you making that type of money. Why would I keep getting that risk in my life or my career when I can make big money in 1 or 2 fights and then keep on, moving my name up in the rankings? And that's what I was looking at, the 135 pound ranking, man, seeing where everybody's at. And they got Lamont Rose. I think before Lamont Rose faced Tank, he wasn't ranked in the 135 pound division, but he's skyrocketed all the way up to number 6. Are you cool with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, he's a champion at 130. So putting him at 6 is good, because a lot of times when a guy that's a champion at a lower weight class and they move up, even though they don't fight the actual champion, they just move up, they'll put them number 1, or they'll put them number 2 or number 3. So putting him number 6, he got in there with the champion. They fought to a draw. A lot of people believe that he should have won. That's no here nor there. But they fought to a draw, and putting him at number 6, I say that's decent.
Yeah,
That's
definitely, it
decent
definitely is.
for a guy that only had one fight at the weight class.
Yeah, and Crush said a prospect with a belt. What the hell is wrong with boxing?
Yeah, and see, and Dylan Rightside and BVO was talking about this yesterday, and they was talking about people say that the belts don't matter, this and that. And like I've always said, I don't say that the belts don't matter to the fighter. The belts don't matter to me. But the thing is, when people say belts don't matter, people outside of what the way I look at it, when people say belts don't matter, they have to realize there's so many belts out here nowadays that everybody's a champion. So you like, man, these belts don't matter like they did back in the day. Back in the day, there was only 3 champions, or there was only 2 champions, or only 1 champion.
Yeah,
So back in the days, it didn't have so many belts. It wasn't that many interim silver belts, daggone intercontinental belt, and all this other stuff. It wasn't those type of belts back then. It was either you're the champion or you're in line to fight the champion. So you had to fight to become the champion. It was more meaningful then, because it was so hard to get a title. Now they giving out titles every time we see a fight. Somebody getting a title. You're like, what belt is that? I'm
man.
like, damn, these guys getting a belt. Like Abdullah Mason had 3 belts. This man is ranked number 7 and number 8, but the man got 3 belts. What are the 3 belts that he got?
I don't even know. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't even know. But man, like you said, they got the WBA Super. They got the WBA Interim. They got the WBA Silver. Man, they got so many belts now. It ain't nothing to go get a belt.
Yeah. And we just heard it we had Kid Austin 5 up here. He was talking about the belt that his son got. He was like, "Oh, he's a champion because you don't understand what it means. That means he's next in line to fight the champion, this and that." So when these guys get these little belts that most people don't recognize to the fighter, they champion. They might not be the champion, but they are champion. They happy about those belts. That's why we say these belts don't mean anything. I just want to see the fight. I don't care if there's a belt on the line. It doesn't mean anything to me because I don't take the belt home. The belts don't mean nothing. Everybody, oh, y'all saying the belts don't mean nothing. No, you take it out of context what I'm saying. The belts don't mean anything to me because I just want to see the best fight. I don't care if there's a belt on the line.
Right. I feel like they're free. Take it back here. Take it back on. Yeah, I feel the same way that you do. The belts don't mean nothing to me. I just want to see the fights. Man, you put two good fighters in the ring with each other. If you take Canelo and Benavidez and take the belts out of the equation, I still want to see the fight. They ain't got to have a belt.
Who was it? Somebody said it the other day. Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard. There was no belt on the line, but people still talk about that fight. They talk about both those fights. They still talk about the fight. There was no belt on the line. So it doesn't matter if there's a belt on the line, as long as it's a good fight. If they're going Tank Davis fought Shakur Stevenson right now and there's no belt on the line, you telling me that's a bad fight? No, that's a fight that everybody want to see. If Shakur fight Devin Haney right now with no belt on the line, you telling me no, that's a bad fight? No, everybody wants to see that fight. It doesn't matter if there's a belt on the line. The belt only matters to the fighter. It doesn't matter to the fans. The fans don't care. Unless you're a fan of that fighter and you want to be able to say, "Oh, yeah, the dude that I root for is a champion." Okay, that's good. You ain't taking it. He's a champion. You ain't taking that belt home.
Right. Man, you're exactly right. I don't even care. I'm telling you, I can be a fan of a fighter and I still don't care about the belt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want him to fight who he can fight the best, and just run through the competition. I ain't never really just cared about the belts. I mean, people keep up with it, and we know who the champions are, but I ain't never say, man, oh, man, how many times have we seen, I'm going to go back to somebody for real. Floyd Mayweather was never undisputed, right? Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Was Manny Pacquiao ever undisputed?
Nope.
But those guys were the biggest names in boxing, right?
Right.
Wasn't no undisputed on the line when those two fought each other and made all that money, then all them pay-per-view buys. Wasn't no wasn't no bunch of belts. Went for undisputed. It went for undisputed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They tell you everything.
If I can remember correctly, George Foreman was never undisputed. If I
can't remember. You might be right, Free. I can't remember, Free.
I know. Larry Holmes was never undisputed.
Now we know Mike Tyson was. Lennox Lewis was.
Larry Holmes was the WBC champion, but he wasn't considered the undisputed champion. He was just considered the WBC champion, and then he became the IBF champion.
Yeah,
he wasn't undisputed.
I was trying to look it up to see.
I don't think George Foreman was.
He wasn't. No, I'm talking about Larry Holmes. He said no, Larry Holmes was not undisputed champion in the modern boxing sense. It said as he never held all four major titles simultaneously, but he did hold the WBC, Ring Magazine, and Lineal heavyweight titles.
Yeah, and see that's another thing that like people keep talking about Ring Magazine. They keep saying, "Oh, Ring Magazine is the linear title." No, it is not. No, it's not. The linear title is the linear title. The Ring Magazine is the Ring Magazine. And you just read it right there. He was the WBC, Ring Magazine, and linear title holder. Yep. There's two different things. A Ring Magazine and linear title are two different things. You can have the Ring Magazine belt and not be the linear champion.
And I ain't not paying attention, but do they even got a belt for the linear championship?
No, there's no belt for the linear title. Belt.
I didn't think there ain't no belt.
It's just the person that beat the person that they consider the best guy of that division. Whoever they consider is the best guy of that division, they are considered the linear title. It's basically a delegation given to a fighter that that achieve a certain amount of goals at that weight class. Whatever their goals are that they have set, they achieved a certain amount of goals, and they say, you know what? He is the linear title holder. So when a guy who is the linear title holder never gets beat and moved out of that weight class, there's no more linear title at that weight class. So they have to find somebody else that meet those criteria, and they say, you know what? He is the linear title holder.
Yeah, and listen, Leo 74 said, how did a magazine get their own belt? And I'm reading it right here. It said the Ring magazine began awarding championship belts in 1922, recognizing the true world champion in each weight class, and has done so ever since then. So it started back in 1922, Leo. As far as them with the Ring magazine belt, and that was a good question because I'm gonna tell you the truth, I did not know myself. I never thought about it.
Yeah. Yeah, the Ring magazine was the one that they were saying was the true champion because they had the WBC championship, and I believe it was the WBA, if I'm not mistaken. It was either the WBA. I think it was the WBA
It was
because I know
WBA.
the IBF wasn't in existence yet. It was the WBA, and so they had two different champions, but they wanted to say who is the actual champion. So the Ring magazine had their belt, and they said, you know what? This is the person that we say is the actual champion because they had two different champions.
Mm-hmm. And the WBC belt is considered to be the most prestigious belt in boxing. That's how it used to be at one time. I think the
But
WBC.
the WBA is the oldest belt because the WBC and the WBA they used to be partners, and then they had a difference in opinion, and so they split off and they created the WBC. It was originally only the WBA belt. It was the
And I'm
WBA
reading
belt,
it
and
right
then
here, Free.
the
You're right.
WBC came into existence because they had a difference of agreement, and so they said, well, we're going to start our own commission, or our own commission, and they started the WBC.
And the WBC belt came in 1963, 1 year after the WBA. So you dead on the money. The WBA came in, it says, I guess, 1962, and it says the WBC came in
Oh,
1963.
that's what it was. That's what it was. I was mistaken. There was no champion. So the Ring magazine created their belt to say this is the champion because everybody was just fighting everybody. And they would say, okay, who is the champion? So the Ring magazine was the one that was following all these boxers, doing these, giving us the details of each fighter. And so they said, well, we're going to create a belt to say who is the actual champion. That's how the Ring magazine started their belt. But the sanctioning body came along and say we want to sanction certain fights, and that's how the WBA came into existence. And then the WBC split off and made their own sanctioning body. And then the IBF came in 1984, I think. It was 1984. Larry Holmes was the first heavyweight to hold the IBF title.
Yep. And what you were saying, Free, once again, spot on. But it's talking about the Ring magazine. It said while not a sanctioning body, Ring magazine also holds a high level of prestige with its champion often considered the lineal champion.
Right.
But
Right. They consider as the linear champion, but they're not always the linear
yeah,
champion.
they're not always the lineal champion, and that's big because at one time Tyson Fury was the lineal champion.
I could give you a perfect example because remember when Lennox Lewis won the undisputed title, he had the Ring magazine and all of the other belts, but Shannon Briggs was the linear champion.
Yeah. I remember that. You're exactly right too. You're exactly right. But man, I ain't even heard of this belt right here, and this goes back to what you and Cruz were talking about. All these belts. It said the WBC had 4 titles for each division: the diamond belt, the silver belt, the eternal belt, and the regular belt. Now I ain't never heard of the eternal.
That's the Intercontinental belt. That's the
Okay.
belt that you be seeing a lot of guys getting overseas. They get the Intercontinental belt. So
Okay.
basically, they're a global champion, but they're not the world champion. So it's the step right below the intern belt. So you have the diamond belt, the silver belt, and then you have the Intercontinental belt, and then it's the interim belt, and
Okay.
then you have the champion.
That's a lot of belts, man, for any, you know what I'm saying, sanctioned body. And that has
And I
become
don't,
the problem.
I don't even understand why the diamond is below the silver. You would think the diamond would be above the silver.
Now
Diamond is worth
it
more than
said you
silver.
right now, Free, the diamond. Hold on, did I read that right? No, the diamond is ahead of the silver. It says the diamond belt, the silver
Okay,
belt, and then the eternal belt. So it's saying the
okay,
diamond is the number one belt.
okay. So yeah,
Who
so
holds
I
the
would
diamond?
say
Who okay, we know that Canelo Alvarez holds the diamond, but what was that belt that they had when Canelo and Lomachenko didn't have to put the title up?
that
What
was
was
the
they called?
franchise belt. Franchise belt.
Yep, yep. They don't have that no more, right?
Nah, Devin Haney got rid of it, and they never gave it to anybody else when Canelo left the division.
Yeah, and I thought that was crazy, and it really was a way to give you an out for like if you a big name and you didn't have to fight nobody.
Yeah, basically what they was trying to do, they was trying to do the franchise belt the same way the WBA do the Super, where the WBC champion, who is considered the franchise champion, doesn't have to worry about fighting mandatories. The WBC champion will fight the mandatories, but the franchise champion will only focus on becoming undisputed. That's what they was trying to do, but they went about it the wrong way in doing it. They didn't put it in every weight class. They only put it in one weight class, and then they brought it for the 135-pound division for Lomachenko. At first, it was only at the I believe it was the 160 weight class or the 154. I think it was 54. It was at the 154 weight class, and then I think maybe a year or two later, they brought it for the 135 for Lomachenko. And so
Yeah,
that's how, and it was like, no, if you're gonna do it for every division. Don't just do it for specific individuals.
yeah, and you know they trying to do this free. They're trying to write Teofimo Lopez into the record books. They're trying to, give him the undisputed title when we know the situation with him and Devin Haney. But like if you go and look in different, like read different stuff, like some people will say no, he was not undisputed. And then like I read right here, it says yes, Teofimo Lopez became the undisputed lightweight champion. You know what I'm saying? So, but then I went somewhere else and it said no. Do you feel like he was really an undisputed champion? How do you feel about that?
No, he wasn't an undisputed champion because if he was the undisputed champion, then there would still be a franchise belt. There is no franchise belt. So you can't say, oh, we only have a franchise belt for these guys because that means Cambosa was undisputed.
Yep, you're right.
That means Cambosos was undisputed. If Teofimo was undisputed, that means Cambosos was undisputed. Because
And he
Cambosos
was.
beat Tio. Cambosos beat Tio, took all the belts that Tio had. And see, the
Oh
thing
yeah,
is, with the franchise belt, is different from the WBA. Because the franchise belt, when they first came out with it, they said it wasn't an actual belt, it was just an award. And then Tio wanted to petition to be able to get that award from Loma if he beats Loma. So they changed it from being an award to being a belt. But the only way you can get that belt, you had to petition for that belt. If
man,
you
it's
didn't
crazy.
petition, you
Now,
didn't get it. That's why Devin Haney never had it. He took the belt, but he never petitioned to become the franchise champion, so they
yeah,
did away with it.
yep. And now I'm reading, and this was crazy. We know that this is not true. It says yes, George Cambosos was briefly held the undisputed lightweight heavyweight championship. Now that's what I'm telling you. Like when you look at the actual records, their names, Teofimo or George Cambosos, is not in there. But if you go to certain sections, they try to give it to him. You know what I'm saying?
But
It's like they
this
try to take that from Devin Haney.
see, this is the thing. When in boxing history, outside of Tio and Cambosis, when in boxing history did you win a fight and had a petition for the actual belt?
Mm.
You never won a fight and had a petition for a belt. If you won the fight, you was awarded the belt. They
Yeah.
had the petition to become the franchise champion. That's why I said no, they wasn't undisputed because They was asked to be the champion. So basically what they said is, hey, I beat this guy. Can I be the champion now? That's basically what they said.
Yeah, that don't make sense either. That don't make no sense. And before we do anything, I gotta ask you this before we get off here. What do you feel? How do you feel about Al Heyman and Turki Al Sheik coming together now? PBC. How do you feel about the whole situation? And one more thing, let me add to that. You see how people had put they draw the line in the sand. I feel like you've seen it, like I seen it. I ain't gonna call the channels out. Like it was an all-out war. If you was either on PBC side or Turkey side, where do they go from here? How do they take the brakes off now and come back around and ride with the whole situation?
You said, how do I feel about Al Heyman and who?
Al Heyman and PBC is now working with Tucker Al Sheik. They're finna,
Well,
they finna,
they've been
they finna,
working with Turkey.
well, no, they hadn't done any fight with Turkey.
Yes,
Nobody
they
on
have.
Al, who?
Yes, they have.
PBC?
Yes, they got it.
Who?
They had plenty of fights with Turkey.
No,
When
they haven't.
yes, they have.
Cause I ain't gonna lie, I
If you
just read it today. They said that this is the first business deal. Now they could be lying. I ain't gonna say
no,
you ain't wrong.
no,
You usually be on point. But I'm just reading what they're saying today.
Carlos
This is the
Carlos Carlos Adonis is a PBC fighter. He just fought
okay,
on Turkey's card.
okay.
Um,
But
the
was he
dude
under
was
Turkey? Let me see who Carlos Adonis with. Because they're making it seem like, well, maybe they're saying this is a business venture, like there's gonna be a bunch of host of fights. So how do you
no.
feel about that if they're saying that?
I don't believe that because Turkey already said I got 18 months left to fill my obligations, and then I'm starting my
Mm.
TKO.
Yeah, yeah.
Al Heyman and Bob already planning on doing business together or whatever. But like I said, Al Heyman has already been doing business with Turkey. It's a I say all the way back to maybe either last year or the year prior. Al Heyman was doing business with Turkey. That's how the first fight that Turkey ever put on was with Al Heyman with the whole Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder was PBC. He went over there and got on the Turkey card.
I know he now we know he was on Turkey card. Was he still with PBC?
He was with PBC. I mean, like, see what people don't realize. PBC, everybody is their own
Yeah.
promoter.
So
They
yeah.
don't. They don't. They don't. They don't actually work for PBC. They under the umbrella of PBC. Everybody under PBC is their own promoter. That's why they
Mhm.
always use Tom Brown as the promotion company because they don't actually promote anybody.
Come
Tom
on out
Brown
here.
is a promotion company that they hire from out to put on the fights. That's why you always see Tom Brown in association with GTD, Tom Brown is associated with Man Down Promotion, Tom Brown in association with such and such. Because all of these people are their own promoter. If they
Mhm.
don't have a promotion company, then they fall under Tom Brown. But if they
Yep.
do have a promotion company, isn't associated with Tom Brown Promotions because PBC uses Tom Brown to promote the fight.
Right.
But these guys, Al Heyman has always lent his fighters out to other promotional companies to go fight.
He
It's
definitely
not
he
something
definitely
that's new.
has. He definitely
He's,
has. And
he's
you
done that
that's
all
nothing
the
but the
time.
truth. And that's definitely the truth. So I don't know what they're getting at or how they're trying to make it seem. I don't know, but yeah, I know you've seen it too.
They
So
trying
I'm
to they
just
trying to they trying to they trying to change the narrative because Bob came out and said he's going to be working with Al Heyman against Turkey. So they trying to say, oh, well, Al Heyman is now working with Turkey. Of course, we know Al Heyman ain't say nothing because Al Heyman don't never say anything.
yep.
So
Never say
they
nothing.
want to try to switch the narrative and act like Turkey is working with Al Heyman. I mean, we'll see in another year or two from now if Al Heyman is still dealing with Turkey. But like I said, I'm only going by what Turkey said. He said he got 18 months to fill his obligations that he had already had
In play.
in plan. So once he finished those obligations, he's going to start. He want to kick off his TKO. We're going to see what happened after those 18 months.
Right.
And we already know what Dana White said. Dana White is supposed to be running the TKO. He's the president. He's supposed to be running it. Dana White said, I don't want to deal with none of these promotional companies. He
Yeah.
said, I don't want to deal with
I don't
none
know
of
how
them.
that works. I don't know how this gonna work out. Uh I'm not gonna make an assumption and say I know what's gonna happen because I don't. Uh I don't want to be that person. It ain't gonna work because it could work. I don't know what's gonna happen. I will say this about it. Somebody was talking about the pay scale the other day. Somebody seen the actual
Yeah, I saw it.
contract.
I saw it. I saw it.
You saw it, and
Yeah,
I think it was you, Free. You gave the best breakdown that I could have heard about that. You said that it could. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought you did say, okay, it can be it can benefit the younger fighters, but it could also hurt. Like somebody was saying, like you're not gonna be able to put a stipulation on a fighter like Tank or Canelo, how much they make. And I think it was you that said all that, and it made perfect sense.
Basically, what they saying is they given a cap of how much money you can make. Okay. So they have certain tiers that you can make a certain amount of money. Once you get to the top tier, you're only making $750,000. That's the top tier. You're making $750,000. You got a guy like Tank Davis who's making somewhere between $5 and $15 million every single fight. How you going to tell a man he's only getting $750,000? They're like, man, you crazy.
You're not gonna be able to do that. Canelo made $50 million his last fight. Think about that. He made $50 million. You think he gonna go from $50 million to $750,000?
No, that
ain't no way.
It sounds good for prospects. If prospects coming into the sport and you say, hey, if you at this level, you can make this amount of money. You at this level, you can make this amount of money. Once you get to the top level and you start to become a contender, we're gonna stop you at 750. But once you become a world champion or a superstar, you can make endless amount of money. That'll work. But
that would work. That would work.
The top is 750,000 and that's it. No, that's not gonna work.
I can tell you right now, they won't be signing, and I said it right here with my guy Free on Sports Talk Network. They won't be signing nobody. You hear what I said? I'm standing on it.
What's our thoughts on the Shakur fallout?
Yeah.
Shakur.
I'll wait. I'll hold mine till you get through.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you like this, Shakur. The grass ain't always greener on the other side. It ain't always greener on the other side. You thought you was going over there for a certain amount of money, and Turkey said,
"There we go.
You're not really making that much money right there."
On the same page.
We put you on a undercard. You was the third fight before the daggone main event. Mm-hmm. Why would we give you? They gave him $2.1 million to fight Josh Padley, and they lost a rack of money because worldwide, pay-per-view buys, they only did 340. And people say they try to put that up against Tank Davis, where Tank Davis did 250 in the United States. Well, you did that worldwide. Tank Davis was in the United States. But even with Tank Davis in the United States and yours worldwide, yours in the United States was $25. Around the rest of the world, it was less than that. Tank Davis in the United States was $80. So Tank Davis did more than yours did worldwide just off of what he did in the United States. So that was supposed to be the card of the century, but it only did 340,000 pay-per-view buys. And according to the reports, in the U.S., it only did 45,000. It only did 45,000 in the U.S.
Yeah, and hold on, and look at this, Free. This is my breakdown of it, and we kind of on the same page with it. And because I'm gonna take off from where you left off and say that this is what I got out of the whole thing. Everything you said is spot on. The way I feel about it. Then I looked a little deeper on the other side of it, and I thought about this, and this is what I'm gonna get into. When you take Williams or Pater, I brought up the Tevin Farmer fight. Turki Al-Sheikh seen what I think a lot of us seen. Tevin Farmer, if you think about it, is a great defensive fighter. I think Shakur Stevenson is a much better fighter with that type of skill set. And I believe that Turki Al-Sheikh don't want to spend no money on that type of fight. Because I think he kind of feels like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to pay Shakur Stevenson a bunch of money for a fight that I know I don't feel like he's going to struggle in. I'm not going to give him no $4 or $5 million what he's asking for, because that's what he's asking for Williams and Pater.
I don't even think it's because he thinks Shakur is going to struggle.
I think he's going to beat him. No, not struggle. I think he thinks Shakur is going to go out there it's gonna be easy work for Shakur. Is what I was saying. Like you look
No,
at
no,
Tevin Farmer.
I
Tevin
don't
Farmer
even.
gave the pay the fits.
I don't even think is that portion. I think of the fact that he doesn't believe that fight can sell
Right.
because
No,
we're gonna
I
see
agree.
we're gonna see it. It's most likely gonna go to a purse bid if Williams are paid to force the mandatory and they go to a purse bid.
You know what they just
Mark
said,
my
Free?
mark my words. They don't get over $3 million for that
Free,
fight.
get what he just said. It's going to the exact amount Shakur Stevenson was offered for the Williams to pay the fight hasn't been publicly disclosed. It's been reported that if it went to a purse bid, Stevenson would receive 75% of the bid and the pay the 25% of the bid. If negotiations fail, the fight will So it's basically saying that it's probably gonna go to a purse bid. What's going on, Mr. Hill?
Oh man, you guys got it. You up here cooking, huh?
Man, go ahead, man. Appreciate that. Go ahead and drop some knowledge on us.
Well, speaking in regards of the situation with TKO, as D Free said, man, I mean, it's going to be very advantageous for young fighters, man, because there's a set pay scale. So no matter what they do, they're going to get this. Whereas, most times than not, they scrounge and put together or either pay for a fight just so they can get it some exposure. Whereas now you get the exposure on a platform and you get guaranteed money. That's always going to be something that's appealing to folks because not everybody is making the type of bread where you can bypass that.
Yeah.
Not everyone scales past that dang what you call that cap that they got, that tier. So, a lot of people, go ahead, my bad.
No, I'm listening to you. I'm just saying, I'm agreeing with what you're saying, and everything is right. But what I'm gonna ask you, Mr. Hill, what happens like what Free talking about when you get past, when you hit the top tier, and now you're a superstar? Do you stay with them? How does that work? Are you taking a chance of signing a contract with them, and then you're not being able to make the money you should make, and only make $750,000? You see what? That's the thing I'm kind of scared of. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. Like Free said, I don't know if people who are accustomed say that we won't even use Tank or Canelo because they exceeded by far. But let's say a Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson that's getting well more than that on guarantee. Why would they? What's the benefit for them if they're going to be capped?
Right.
Because now you got to fight more fights to even equal what you get for one.
Man, definitely, that's what I'm saying. Devin Haney is eating good. Devin Haney making a nice amount of money right now in the world of boxing. No way he's gonna
Exactly.
go back down. We just, the 750,000. Tank Davis, Anthony Joshua. I'm just naming names. Canelo,
So
Bud Crawford. Jerron Buzinis. These fighters are making more than 750,000 a fight right now, and I don't see them going backwards.
So to me, it seems like what they're really trying to target is the future of boxing.
Yeah.
Like you guys that aren't getting any money because they're not paying you because you haven't yet made them so much money. You
Right.
guys got a home over here where you guys got skills and we can put it on display and you can get paid for it. You definitely can make more than what you're getting over there. And
Definitely. And Mr. Hill, let me ask you this. Say, for instance, you sign with them, right?
mhm.
Now, you sign with them and you get the fight of a lifetime with a Tank Davis, the opportunity to make a big paycheck. Are you going to look and say, well, Tank's over here finna get 15 million and I'm only getting 750,000? You see what I'm saying? Because I'm under
Yeah,
contract with them and Tank under contract with somebody else.
yeah, but that's another thing too. The problem with that is
Yes, sir.
they not going to be fighting those guys.
Yeah.
They're going
Oh,
to be
yeah.
fighting guys inside of the TKO.
Oh,
They're
okay.
not going
That's
to be
going to hurt.
fighting. Yeah, they're not going to be fighting the guys that's on Top Rank, that's on PBC, that's on Matchroom, that's on Golden Boy. They're not going to be fighting those guys.
That's not
They're going
good.
to be fighting the guys that's only on the TKO. That way they can keep them inside of that bracket. If you're signed to TKO, you in this bracket. This is what we're going to pay. It's the same thing like Dana White. Dana White got his people inside of a bracket.
Yep.
If you fighting somebody from Bella, I don't care what those guys from Bella is making. You're going to make what I said you was supposed to be making. Those
Yeah,
guys from
Bellator.
Bella, they may be able to. Bellator. I said Bella. The guy from Bellator, they may be able to negotiate a higher purse because they from another promotional company. You're part of my promotional company, and I'm telling you what you're going to make, and this is what you're going to make.
Free. So you see what I'm saying? Because we saying the same thing too, and it just ain't making sense. It's gonna be hard to pull this off, is what I'm saying. I think it is. I could be wrong, but I think we all on the same page. It's gonna be very hard to pull this off right here, to be able to, because there's gonna be times you're gonna want to fight somebody on the other side of the street, as they like to say. You know what I'm saying? And you're not gonna be able to do that.
But you see, this is the thing, man, and this is where they're trying to target. You got so many people out here that are so anti PBC
Yeah.
that they will push anything and anyone that is against them or that's doing something different. There's so many people that's going to want to root for this thing just to see it do well, just to believe that, quote unquote, they're going to give us the best fights. Because unfortunately, that's the calling card for what Riyadh is doing. Riyadh is supposedly giving us the fights we want to see, and you can really only name like 3 fights. 2 of them are like the same fight over again. So it's like the cards have not been what they have been cracked up to be or as advertised. They haven't been able to secure the best fighting, the best, so to speak. But in certain
I'm gonna be honest with
examples,
you. They only gave me 1 fight.
They gave me 2, free. I ain't gonna lie to you. I wanted the Morrell and Benavidez fight.
Oh no, I take that back. They gave they. I mean, I wasn't really. I didn't really care about the fight, but they did give the fans 2 fights. They gave them the Bivol and Arthur fight, and they gave them the Usyk and Tyson Fury. That's it. That's all they gave them.
Well, that's 3 for me then. You made me think about that.
They didn't know.
Morrell and Benavidez was PBC.
That was PBC. That
was PBC.
That wasn't Turkey.
That was PBC. That's my fault. That's my mistake. That was PBC. So they gave me 2 fights. You're correct. They gave me 2 fights I wanted to see. I don't know why I was thinking they went over there.
Now, I will say this, that on 2 of those cards, there was some pretty decent. There were some pretty good undercards on that fight.
Definitely.
That shook out because of it, but it wasn't fights that people were truly clamoring for. Like what it was billed as is what, unfortunately, I've seen only few people do, and that few people includes like Don King.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? early Bob Arum, where you had opportunity to give us fight at the fight, because these people, except for the superstars, weren't making the money that they can make now. So like,
I mean, if you think about it, like he put a lot of names on those cards, but when on paper they were like, oh, this a pretty decent fight.
Yeah,
but when we saw that fight play out, you was like, man, this is some bull.
Oh, you talking about Riyadh, right?
Yeah, Riyadh.
Yeah.
When they played out, you were like, man, that's some bull. Because at first you just looking at the names, you're like, oh, this might be some decent fight. I want to see this. And then it played out, you was like, man, that's some bull.
Right. And free, that's the thing I believe that happened. It looked great on paper. It looked much better on paper than it did in the actuality in the ring. And that's what happened to us. We got kind of hoodwinked into believing, oh man, you looking at those names on the paper, this gonna be, man, this card right here, man, I ain't never seen no card like this, because a lot of people were hollering like, man, this is the greatest card ever, like Mr. Hill was saying, and we heard a lot of that.
They threw a bunch of names at you that you thought was going to be some great fights. They threw a bunch of names. You heard Carlos Adonis. You heard
Callum Smith.
Yeah, Callum Smith. You heard the daggone what was the Big Bang Zane and Cabal. You heard a bunch of names.
Joseph Parker.
Joseph Parker. They threw a bunch of names. Shakur on there. They threw a bunch of names at you, so you just thought that the card was going to be great. Well, the whole world let you know that the card wasn't great because you only sold 340,000.
Mm-hmm. And we didn't get. We think about it.
You sold less than what Frank Martin and Tank did. Less than what Frank Martin and Tank.
And 2 of the fights we didn't even get because Daniel didn't fight and Floyd didn't fight.
Right.
Which definitely altered, how you would view that card. Because I mean, it would have been a better fight had you seen Daniel Dubois in that ring
Yeah, definitely. That would have been
for Coley.
an excellent fight.
Yeah, so you know, I mean, I I can't fault him for that. That fight I was looking forward to seeing. I wanted to see how it would play out. But I mean, like I say, that being the case, it was a decent card. It wasn't a bad card. It just was not what it was billed as. And
Yeah.
you
You
know,
know what I think it is? I think it's a combination of two things. I think it's a combination of two things. I think it's a combination of a lot of people hate PBC, so they
hmm
want to see somebody outdo Al Heyman. And I think is the second part of that combination is a lot of people wants to see more fights in the sport of boxing. So when they saw that, they were like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be better than I." But then when you go back and you really look at the overall picture of everything that he put together, he really haven't been giving us the fights that everybody claimed that he's been giving us. Oh, he's giving us the fights that we want. No, he didn't. He gave us two. All them other fights, we didn't want those fights. We didn't mind seeing them, but we didn't want those fights. He gave
We
us
ain't asked
two
for him.
fights that we wanted. Two. That's it. He gave us two fights that we wanted. Everything else, we didn't care.
Yeah,
Well,
you're right.
if they fought, because nobody wanted to see Shakur versus Kid Austin. Nobody wanted to see that.
Mm-mm.
I don't.
Nobody
I
but
don't know.
Kid.
I don't know anybody that said, "Oh yeah, Shakur and Kid Austin. That's a heck of a fight." No, they said Shakur is fighting a prospect. The same way they was crapping on Tank Davis and Lamont, they was crapping on Shakur and Kid Austin. The only thing they gave Shakur more props for is because Kid Austin was a 135-pound fighter. That was it.
Yeah. And Kid Austin really talked himself into that fight, you know what I'm saying? And then it didn't happen. So like you said, nobody really was calling for
You
that
know,
fight at the time. Nobody.
you know how Kid Austin got that fight?
How's that free?
He was signed to Oscar.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you how he got the fight. He got the fight the same way. He followed the blueprint. He followed the blueprint perfectly, and he did almost the exact same thing. He followed Ryan Garcia for the Tank Davis fight.
Say
He did almost exactly what Ryan did.
it was the same blueprint.
Same blueprint. He
what
went
what
against Oscar. He said, "Well, if you ain't gonna make the fight, we're doing it on our own." Same
Yeah.
thing that Ryan did. The same exact thing.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mr.
what
Hill. What you finna say?
No, I was just gonna say what D Free speaking on is actually what it is, man. You know, people wanting it to do better than the PBC, and people wanting to believe that there's fights being made because they don't believe that the PBC is making fights. You know what I'm saying? It's always gonna fall back on the PBC, and it's crazy because most of the people that say that won't even admit that right now in this early part of the year, the PBC has been putting on the best fights. And,
The best.
and like,
They have.
you know, man, I don't care what platform it come from. I just want fights, bro. Like, I'm not here to worship no man. I'm
Yeah.
not here to push an entity. We here to watch the fights. That's what we sign up for. We want to watch the fights.
That's it.
And,
That's
Who put
and
all.
on who put on more fights this year so far?
PBC ain't. I would say. Let me think. I'm trying to think.
Exactly. The
PBC, yeah.
only other people that you could put up there with PBC is Top Rank.
That's it.
PBC and Top Rank put on the most fights this year. So when they were saying, "Oh, Turkey taking over box," they put on all these cards. Turkey put on 2 cards so far this year.
Yeah. But
2.
we got what? Okay. Turkey got a card coming up. When is it? His next card.
And PBC got a card coming up. Turkey got a card coming up this weekend.
When
PBC got it.
When Boots fighting?
He's fighting this weekend.
This
They got a
weekend.
card coming up this weekend.
Yeah, that's okay.
And
Okay.
then PBC got another card coming up, I believe, in May. If they got, I'm not sure if they got one in August, but I know they got one in May.
Okay. When
And
we got Tank coming up again.
yeah, Tank coming up. It's supposed to be in June.
Yeah.
That's a card that's supposed to happen in June. And then we're supposed to get later on this year. We're supposed to get the Tim Tszyu versus Keith Thurman.
Yep.
I think the Sebastian Fedor fight is the one that's coming up in May, if I'm not mistaken. That's with the Jamel Charlo and all of them. Jamel Charlo's supposed to be on the undercard of that Sebastian Fedor fight.
So really, PBC is putting on for the city.
Hold
They
on,
putting on.
is it Sebastian Fedor? No, I think Jamel Charlo might be headlining his own card. Sebastian Fedor just fought. I think
Fighting.
Jamel
Jamel
Charlo.
fighting
Oh no,
Rainbow
it's the Caleb Plant. Jamal Charlo and the Caleb Plant fight. Jamal Charlo and Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant is the headline.
I mention this free. Ain't Jamel Charlo fighting Ramos?
Yeah, he fighting Jesus Ramos.
Yeah, that's an interesting fight right there. That's a good fight.
That might be a headliner card, if I'm not mistaken. That might be a headliner card.
It could be.
I know one of them supposed to be fighting on the undercard of Tank, but I think Jamel and Jesus might be the co-main for the Tank Davis card.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good card, man.
I think Jamal is the co-main to Caleb Plant card. So that's what 5 cards this year that PBC put on about to put on.
But you know what's crazy? Y'all know what's crazy for real? Let me say this right here, free. PBC put on all these cards, but yet Al Haymon is broke and ain't got no money to pay the fighters. But he steady putting on fights.
I already told you what that was about. They tripping.
Yeah, they tripping. They got to be tripping. Al Haymon is continuing to put on great cards. The fighters getting paid.
I keep trying to tell you, PBC can't be broke because nobody works for PBC.
Yeah.
PBC is not paying out any money to anybody.
We know this.
That's why people just talking and they don't even know the business. You like, who's an employee of PBC that you actually know is a straight up employee of PBC? You don't. You don't know who's an employee of PBC because they don't have. But I think somewhere around like 100 employees. If it's that many, it might be less than. I think somewhere around between 25 and 50 actual employees of the PBC. Everybody else are under the umbrella of PBC. But the way PBC pays these fighters, they get the money from the network. The network pays for the fight. Now they say Amazon gave them a budget. Okay, the budget is how much we're going to pay for each fight. And they came to them, they said, well, if we put on a fight on with Tank Davis, we think the budget should be this amount for Tank Davis. And we put a fight on for this fight, we think it should be this amount. So they got the money already in advance. And then PBC also get a portion of the pay-per-view because the fighters only get 90% of the pay-per-view. The other 10% goes to the PBC, the company that put the fight on. That's where the other 10% goes to.
And that's not a bad deal.
And then the live gate is what pays for the undercard.
It's not a bad deal. It's definitely not a bad deal for the fighters, man. Al Haymon is taking care of his fighters at the end of the day. And like you said, he has been working with Turki because I've been looking through my phone, just looking at stuff like you see it.
And not to mention, each one of these fights that they put on for a fight, guess what? They got to pay a portion of the money that they're getting paid to PBC for putting the fight on for them.
Yep.
To be totally honest, I mean, he's been working with every entity, man. He's been letting his fighters go and fight wherever they can get a fight, you know. And honestly, man, you know, last year was a tough year for him anyway because his mom's health was in question and wasn't doing well. So, you know, he was less involved within the practice of it because he was more involved with how his mom was going to get the treatment she needs. Like, and that had recently just come out before people didn't know what was going on. Only few people did know. So it's like, to me, honestly, like, I don't wish the ill will for none of these people. They're doing their thing and their thing helps to entertain me. I'm not going to sit here and push no narrative for nobody else just because I rock with certain people or I rock with a certain fighter. And then on top of that, man, I'm not listening to nobody that's not tapped in. We getting stuff that's not tapped in clearly because for the past 15 years, the PBC's been going under. Yet they still providing fights, man. It just don't make sense. Why people do this?
Go ahead. They've been saying it. That's all I said. They've been saying
No. I'm just saying like what you saying. They've been saying this, and it's been the narrative, and yet they're still giving us fights. And oftentimes, the fights they give us are entertaining. Oftentimes they have the best promotions, and oftentimes you see, a product that's worth whatever you're gonna spend for it. People trip off of the price point. Make you freaky. You're going into the mall, you're going online, and you're buying Jordans for like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
You call you really gonna complain about a boxing match?
You can't.
Man, it costs like $8 to make them shoes. You're paying well above that.
Yeah.
Well
And
above that.
you complain about a fight. You can't
You
do it.
complaining about a fight. And,
Man,
and,
you
and
can't.
most of the people that's complaining are pushing agendas by other folks and they happen to look like us. And that's the craziest part about everything.
Man,
That's the
that,
craziest part about everything.
that's what I can't stand. It's the people that look like us that push the narrative and they get behind everybody else, man. That's a whole nother topic for another day because it definitely got to be talked about and what we can do to make things better and to get behind Al Haymon, somebody to look like us, to get behind PBC and push them, man. That's what we're supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times we're not doing that.
Yo, fellas, I'm gonna say one thing, man, that I use to gauge everybody. I asked them if we could get 5 fights right now, what fights would they be? Man, every single answer evolved. One fighter from one promotional company versus another fighter from another promotional company. I said, so to me, it seems like the movement is going towards that direction where we will get the fights in spite of a promotional company. So it seems like it's getting closer to those things happening. Now it just becomes where we make these fights. Because ultimately, you guys want to see fights versus people who are on different sides of quote unquote streets. Like back in the days when we had to get our teams and go to a different neighborhood and fight for neighborhood supremacy. It's the
Yeah,
same thing, man. Just
exactly. Got it.
you know what I'm saying? Just respect how it's going, man. Stop pushing so many narratives. Stop hating on so many fighters and so many people that you have no contact, no allegiance to, no clue of. They don't even have no clue of you. And let's just clamor for the fights, man. Let's say, hey, let's put our energy in saying, hey, yo, you know what? They're doing a fantastic job over there. We would love to see how they do if they are matched here. Instead of doing all the stuff that we do, man, I don't have no energy for that stuff. It's just it's so redundant, man. It just doesn't make sense anymore.
You definitely don't. Before we go free, anybody, y'all got anything y'all want to say?
No, I'm good.
I'm good too, man. Great show.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everybody coming through. This is CDK Sports Talk Network. We out.